Hey everybody, Motorpoet59 here. Since the outbreak of the coronavirus, the anti-China sentiment has been building and building and building and building. And it's reached this crescendo of let's boycott China and everything Chinese. And I can't help but wonder if there is going to end up being a group who want to ban Chinese people from coming to America to work or visit or whatever. I have nothing against the Chinese. I have nothing against anyone. The Chinese are not the problem. The Chinese aren't to blame for the world's ills. And they're certainly not to blame for all the ills of the United States. Now, if got to the point where we were no longer doing business with China, and that became a reality where we did boycott things to that point, where it got to that point, I'd be okay with that. Things would be a lot more expensive in the United States, but I can probably afford it. Most people can't. I did a video a while called "Are You Sure You Want to Dump China?" And I addressed that issue. So if you want to check that out, please do. I initially was going to call this China versus OPEC, but it's actually much larger than that. We live in a global economy. There's absolutely no doubt about that. One of the complaints that I know that people made, and I'm talking about conservatives that I know made about Donald Trump during his campaign for the president, was that he was a nationalist. And my question to them was, so right now we could use a little nationalism. Now, all of a sudden, everybody wants to boycott China. I don't think that's a good idea. Like I said, if it comes to pass, it comes to pass, and I'll deal with it. The thing I wanted to address here is that what about everybody else that we deal with? Just because those countries didn't introduce some new flu virus to the world, it's okay that they are screwing us over with tariffs and holding us hostage with oil and other products? It's just ridiculous. Americans seem to be so willing to jump on the next bandwagon, whichever bandwagon comes down the pike. But Americans have the memory of a goldfish. And a year from now, no one's going to even remember this. Everybody's going to be well. The numbers will be okay. Everyone's going to realize that this was nothing like it was predicted to be. And people are going to be buying stuff at Walmart again, and they're going to be using Chinese products, and they're going to go to the dollar stores, and no one's going to care anymore. But to the point that I made about what about everybody else, what about OPEC? We spend, as Americans, a whole hell of a lot more on gasoline and petroleum products, and oil and all that, than we do at Walmart as individuals. Here are the countries that are part of OPEC, and that is, for those of you who don't know, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. It was founded in Iraq in 1960 with 5 member states. Now it has 15, and those countries are Algeria, Angola, Congo, Ecuador, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Libya, Nigeria, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Venezuela. We're doing business with at least 3 countries who are our sworn enemies. Countries that would see us wiped from the face of the earth. And I'm talking not conservatives, I'm talking America. These people would love to see us wiped from the face of the earth. And along with every other part of Western civilization and anyone else who didn't convert to Islam. That is just a fact. And we have a few socialist countries in there. We have countries in there that have horrible human rights records. What about them? Sex trafficking? A bunch of these countries have been tied to sex trafficking. What about about them? Why aren't we boycotting them? Where is the outrage about things that are affecting people, have been affecting us for a long time, are still affecting us, and will likely continue to affect us for the foreseeable future, because it doesn't appear that anybody's really doing anything about any of this. Everybody's just pissed at China because we got locked down. Everybody's pissed at China because some people got sick and some people died. And that really wasn't China's fault. And I addressed that in the video I did about China, about calling America out. This is our fault. We invited all these people to do business with us. And hey, it's a good thing economically. It's a sound policy. And over the years, terrorists involved with nations like China and Venezuela and all these other countries that we do business with, whether they're our allies or our enemies, those terrorists began getting off balance, where we were paying them a lot more than they were paying us. Donald Trump has been trying to rectify that, and people are calling him a racist and a xenophobe because of it. And that's the thing I asked them, what is wrong with being a nationalist right now? Let's put America first for a while. We do business with lots of countries, with lots of things. We do a lot of business with Russia. We do a lot of business with the Baltic states, with a lot of the European states. Look at the cars. Japan, Europe, South Korea. We do business with lots of those people, and some of those people have questionable track records, and nobody ever asks about it. They want a Beamer or a Mercedes or a Kia or whatever, and they're willing to overlook whatever those countries have been involved in. Now, I don't think that Germany should be held accountable any longer for the things they did during World War I or World War II. It's been a long time. They're one of our allies now. They're unified, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. People are still grousing about slavery in the United States, which ended over 150 years ago. The Holocaust was a lot more recent than that, and nobody's grousing about that while they're cruising around in their Beamers and their Mercedes. Nobody's pissing and moaning about Ferraris or any other Italian car, and they were just as culpable for war crimes during World War II as were Germany and Japan. And Americans are still complaining about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but they're not complaining about the atrocities that the Japanese committed to not just to our military, but to civilians in China and Mongolia, Korea. But Americans seem to be willing to overlook that so they can drive Nissans and Toyotas. And I just think it's kind of hypocritical to piss and moan about China just because some people got sick. China's never done anything to us. They were our allies during World War II. And I just read an article this morning about how China's warning the United States not to start a Cold War with them. I mean, I don't think that's a good idea, but they need us more than we need them, and they're obviously not paying attention to the prevalent attitude of Americans in general today where China's concerned. So probably just more posturing. Maybe not. Who knows? They're rattling their swords or they're getting ready to pull them out. I don't know. We survived a Cold War with Russia. We'll survive a Cold War with China. Nobody wants to get into a fight. Wouldn't benefit anyone. But anyway, why not everyone else? Why pick on China? Again, go back. You really should go back and view the video I did on Do You Really Want to Dump China? I'll link it in the description below. But that's all I got to say about that. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'm all wet. I don't think so. But like, share, subscribe. Click on the bell if you want to be notified of future content, and we'll see you all later.